So the time is now 11 a.m. and we'll begin the second of our series of virtual public information sessions for the Freeport and Vicinity Coastal Storm Risk Management Project. On behalf of the project team, we thank you for your time and interest in the Freeport project. My name is Jen Morgan. I will be assisting the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers today and the Velasco Drainage District with today's public information session. Before we proceed with our agenda, I would like to review some housekeeping items to help today's meeting run smoothly. Again, the chat feature is open. You can provide your email. Also, don't mute or unmute, and please add your questions to the chat. We will collect these questions, and later following the presentation, we will move through select questions, present them to our panel, and allow the panel to comment and provide a response. Please note, we might not have time today to respond to all questions submitted, but we encourage you to submit questions or inquiries to the project email address shown on the screen at this time. Please understand that this public information is not considered a formal NEPA public meeting, so any questions or responses provided today are not a part of the administrative record. However, we do value your participation, and we look forward to taking and responding to questions after the presentation. I will now introduce the project team and our panel that we have present in the room and on the phone with us today. Eddie Irigoyen, Corps of Engineers Project Manager for the Freeport Project. Ben Caldwell, Corps of Engineers Lead Engineer for the Freeport Project. Michaela Kinsey, Corps of Engineers Real Estate Specialist. Jeff Pinsky, Corps of Engineers Chief of Environmental Compliance. Kelly Berg, Corps of Engineers Project Manager for the Sabine Pass to Galveston Bay Coastal Storm Risk Management Program. And Callie Clark-Egan, Acting Program Manager for the S2G program. Also from the Velasco Drainage District, we are joined by David Youngblood and Chris Gallion. During the meeting today, Kelly Berg and Chris Gallion will provide opening remarks, and then we will have an informational presentation about the Freeport project from the Army Corps of Engineers and Velasco Drainage District. After the presentation, the project team, as I said earlier, will take and respond to questions. We will now begin the presentation portion of the meeting with opening remarks.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. This is Dr. Kelly Berg-Coates, and I just wanted to start out by saying thank you to all of you out there for joining us today. We trust that most of you are familiar with the project and hope that this is not your first time in receiving information about the Sabine to Galveston program or the Freeport project specifically. But if it is, we're excited to bring you an update today, and we plan to continue these sorts of engagements on a regular basis over the course of the next several years as we construct the project. This is a very important project. Your input is vital to the process, and we look forward to hearing from you. And with that, I want to hand it over to our cost share sponsors, the Velasco Drainage District, Mr. Chris Gallion.
Thank you for attending this public meeting. I would also like to thank the Corps for setting up these proceedings, these meetings, and the Velasco Drainage District and the Corps entered into a public partnership agreement in March of this year, and we at Velasco Drainage District are looking forward to the Corps and the community citizens to see the development and completion of this project. We hope that these proceedings are helpful and beneficial to the citizens of our district. Back to you.
Thanks, Chris. I also want to make sure that everybody heard our opening remarks. We might have had a technical issue right there at the beginning. Thank you all for joining us, and we are hoping to be able to provide you all information either for the first time or an update of what you've heard before on the Freeport project and the Sabine to Galveston program in general. This is a very important project, and your feedback is vital. Please provide your comments in the chat so that we can engage with you. And remember that we plan on doing this sort of engagement regularly over the course of the next several years as we construct the project. And with that, I think we'll turn it over to the project manager for his presentation. Make sure.
Good morning, everybody. This is Eddie Irigoyen. I just want to make sure that you guys can hear me.
We can hear you, Eddie.
All right, perfect. Okay. Again, one more time, I do want to thank everybody for joining us. Thank you for giving us your time. So I'll go ahead and give a brief overview of the project, the history, and where we're at right now, and our timeline for the project. And then our lead engineer, Ben Codwell, he'll go into a little more detail with our contracts and the scope of work, and our real estate specialist, Michaela Kinsey, go a brief overview of our real estate portion for this project. So the Sabine, Galveston, Freeport, and Vicinity is a component of the S2G program. The S2G program also includes Port Arthur and Orange. So the Port Arthur system is the blue line, and then we have the orange line up here, which will be a brand new system, approximately 26, 27 miles of levee and floodgate that we plan to build in Orange. Again, the existing system is Freeport, which you all are familiar with the locations down here. This will be the first step towards a more resilient coast. The purpose of the project is to reduce the impact from potential flooding due to storm surge. Now, as you can see here, we are using, you can say, a system approach for a stronger coast. So it's not only going to include the 3 elements for Sabine and Galveston, it's also going to include the Texas City Hurricane Flood Protection System. We will also have our brand new Coastal Texas study, which just signed the Chief's report. It was signed by our Chief of Engineers a couple of days ago, and it was published on our Facebook page earlier this week. So it is out there available for the public to view. The barrier will go right here on Bolivar, and then it would also include ecosystem restoration along the coast, as well as Jefferson County Ecosystem Restoration Project. So this system is a comprehensive investigation of solutions to current and future coastal storm risk management problems in our coast. Forward, quick background on the project. So as you can see, like I mentioned earlier, this is three elements of the project. We'll be modifying 2 existing systems, which is the Freeport and the Port Arthur. As you can see here, these are the sections of where it's bold that will be modifying for the Freeport system. And again, for Orange County is a brand new system. Since Orange is a brand new existing project, we will do some mitigation there. Currently, Freeport and Port Arthur do not have a mitigation contract or section. So this project did get authorized back in 2018 with the Bipartisan Budget Act. This was post-Harvey. Right after post-Harvey, the Bipartisan Budget Act got approved, giving us not only the full authority to go straight into construction, but it was also fully funded. So I just want to point out that even though it was authorized post Harvey, this project is not due to a rain event. Just like Harvey was, this project was actually done with our study right after due to Ike for coastal storm risk management. So I know sometimes there's confusion since the Bipartisan Budget Act got approved after a rain event. So just want to point that out there. And once again, our project sponsor is Velasco Drainage District, and the total estimated cost is $704 million. And I'll go into a little more detail with the budget and the cost share breakdown. Some of the project features that we'll have is we'll be replacing the eye walls with T-walls. Just right after Katrina, it was pointed out that T-walls are stronger than eye walls, so we've been replacing our eye walls with T-walls on several of our coastal storm risk management projects along the coast. The other thing that we'll be doing will be raising the levee. Approximately 12 miles of the levee will be raised. The height of the levees that we'll be raising do vary along the system. We will be also doing a new lift gate at the Dow Barge Canal, and we'll show the exact location in a couple minutes. The lift gate will be something very similar that the one we're showing here, which I'm pretty sure everybody there in the Freeport area is familiar with this. The reason we're going with the lift gate, it's not only cheaper but it's also Velasco Drainage District is more familiar with this kind of gate, and they're familiar with the maintenance of it as well. We will have also several road closures and railroad closures. We'll have approximately 10 of those, and those will be in two of our contracts, FPV 03 and 04. So here's a quick overview of our timeline. Again, the study for this project was completed in 2017. Just like I mentioned earlier with the Coastal Texas study, that the Chief of Engineers just signed that report. This one was signed at the end of 2017. And then right after that, in 2018, early 2018, the Bipartisan Budget Act got signed. So again, it gave this project full authority to go straight into construction, and it was fully funded by Congress. We awarded our first contract award, which was a design contract in 2019. And right now, currently at this time, we're doing design. We're approximately 35% complete design for all areas of the work. As many of y'all have seen out there, we have been doing some survey work, so a lot of our surveyors been out there. Right now, we're on schedule to begin construction in 2023 and completing by the end of 2026. And as we keep moving forward, we are going to be updating our website to let the public know of where we're at, where construction will be taking place, when construction will be starting at each specific location, and giving everybody more detail as we move forward. Project funding, again, our non-federal sponsor is Velasco Drainage District. They are responsible for 35% of the cost of the project. So total project cost is $704 million, so they'll be responsible for approximately $246. Federal is $457 million. They are eligible not only, they don't have to provide this amount in cash, they could provide some of that amount in working kind. And for example, some of the work they'll be doing will be some of the renovations there at their current pumping station. So they will be doing that as working kind currently. So I will now go ahead and pass it over to our lead engineer, Ben Caldwell, and he'll go into a little more detail on the contract and the scope of work.
Okay, thank you, Eddie. And good morning. I'm getting a little picked up on my end, so hopefully So I'm not sure what's going on, but hopefully you guys can understand it. The Freeport and Vicinity Project, the FPV as we call it, is subdivided into 3 construction contracts. And the map on the right there, the footprint of those 3 project contracts is displayed in blue.
Ben? Okay, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the real estate portion while Ben's trying to call back in. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Michaela Kinsey. As we said, I'm one of the realty specialists assigned to the Freeport project, and I work within the Galveston District Real Estate Division. Today, I'm going to briefly be describing the real estate division's responsibilities during the design phase of the project. So in order to determine the alignment for the project, our contractors and engineers have to go off of concrete data that we acquire during surveys and investigations. So that's where the real estate team comes in. Our job is to obtain the necessary rights of entries for our contractors and engineers to access the property in order to collect the data via surveys and investigations. The right of entry, or shortened to ROE, gives the government and its contractors permission to access private properties and to conduct whatever surveys we're requesting and whichever surveys the owners are willing to let us perform. So the real estate package that our team puts together includes the right of entry that I discussed on the previous slide, as well as the signature page, a description of the types of surveys and investigations that would take place on the property, a map showing the impacted property. You can see an example here on the screen of the type of exhibit we would include, and then also a contact information form, which you can also see on the screen. The contact information form's purpose is for property owners to provide us with the most up-to-date and accurate contact information so that we can reach out to them in the event that we need to discuss something with them, or if we need to renegotiate something. And then on the second half of the page, you can see that there's an additional section where the landowner can list any site-specific conditions. An example of that would be, we've had some landowners request that we notify them 24 hours or 48 hours in advance. And then we've actually had one woman notify us of a 12-foot alligator on her property. So we do get some wildlife warnings as well. And then commonly in industrial and commercial properties, they will request further coordination for access and for location of the survey so that we're not disturbing their daily operations. When obtaining the rights of entry for this project, and for any project, our goal is to be as transparent as possible. That's why we do provide a description of the surveys and investigations. And that's also why we allow the property owners the opportunity to give us any restrictions or any guidelines to follow while we're on their property. Once we've identified all of the right-of-way and lands that are needed for the project, and we're getting closer to the construction phase of the project, the Corps will issue a notice to proceed to Velasco Drainage District that will essentially greenlight them to go ahead and move forward with any land acquisitions. So Velasco Drainage District is responsible for the acquisition of all right-of-way for the project, and all acquisitions will follow the Uniform Relocation Assistance and Real Property Acquisition Policies Act of 1970. We typically shorten this to just relocation, or to Uniform Act. So if you hear that, that's what we're referring to. As of right now, we're currently at 35% design, and there are no home or commercial relocation assistance anticipated. We are at only 35%, so everything is tentative right now, but as of now, we're not anticipating any relocations for residential or commercial properties. We do expect that additional right-of-way will be required once we get to the construction phase of the project. However, whenever possible, we will be trying to perform all of the work within VDD right-of-way. So during the land acquisition phase, it will start off with appraisal reports in order to determine the fair market value of property. Landowners will have the opportunity to accompany the appraiser during the inspection of the property. And once that fair market value has been determined, that is what will be offered to landowners. And that's all I have. Ben, were you able to call back in?
I did call back in, but apparently it still has that.
Sounds a little better.
It does sound a little better. I can hear you much clearer than I could before.
Can you hear me clear now?
Yes.
Okay. Apologize for the little glitch. So hopefully you can understand me on your end. The Freeport and Vicinity Project, FPV, is divided into 3 construction contracts. FPV 02, 03, and 04. And the locations of those are highlighted in blue on the map to the right. Next slide, please. The FPV 02 contract includes 3 main project features. Locations again are shown in the blue circles on the map to the right. The main feature will be the construction of a vertical lift gate near the mouth of the Dow Barge Canal. Be similar to the existing lift gate that is there in Freeport now, as Eddie showed earlier. Also, there will be some short length of levee and flood wall, which will tie that new structure into the existing system. There'll also be some improvements to existing East Levee Pump Station, which is a blue circle just to the north. And the remaining feature is a overflow drainage structure in the north Dow Barge Canal. Next slide, please. The FPV 03 contract is the Old River area. They're again shown highlighted in blue on the map to the right. And this project consists of a little over 3 miles of new flood walls, the T walls, as Eddie showed earlier. About 0.6 miles of levees will be raised, and there'll be some road closure gates where the new flood walls intersect roadways, and those Eddie displayed earlier. Next slide, please. The 04 contract is spread out a little more area. You can see there in blue. It involves 11 miles of levee to be raised and approximately 2 miles of new flood wall.
So one of the things I wanted to point out to you on the screen right now is that we do have a website for the project. You can go out to the URL that's at the bottom of this slide, or you can just Google the Freeport project and it will come to this website. The website will continue to provide news about where we are in the process, and in the next month or so, we'll have a story map up there so that you guys can go in and type in, for example, your home address, zoom right into your community and have a look at what's being proposed in that region, but also live footage through cameras and drones so that you can see the work as it progresses. So you'll be able to get a feel for what's done now, what's coming, and when we will be complete live. So you'll get a good feel for where we're at. I think what we'll do is transition to a few questions at this point and then wrap it up. So if you have questions, go ahead and put those out there in the chat box so that we can answer them for you. Jennifer?
Thank you, Kelly. Okay, I've seen just a few questions come into the chat box, and we can start with the first one. Somebody's interested in knowing, they say it appears that this project will be in their neighborhood, and they're interested in knowing how much disruption they might experience and for how long will there be any disruption to usual roads that they drive on, and what sort of impacts that way?
So, again, construction will start, currently we're scheduled to start in 2023. And yes, even though all 3 contracts will be doing construction concurrently, it doesn't necessarily mean that construction will be going throughout the whole area at the same time. So it'll be breaking down by sections. We'll also let the public know through VDD of where construction will be taking place, how long it tentatively will take for construction to happen in that place. If it does have some impact to any roads that you drive through or to get to home or to work, there will also be a temporary road there. And then at the end of construction, we'll make sure that the contractor puts that road back to its original state. So, and again, we'll keep everybody informed and keep everybody updated.
Thank you, Eddie. Somebody else is asking, will this presentation be available?
And so the answer to that is yes and more. We will be opening up a story map system for the general public in the next month. And these maps that Eddie and the team were showing are actually live, and you can zoom into them and get a feel for exactly what's being proposed at each of these locations. We're going to be providing the graphics so that you can understand what a T-wall is and get a feel for what its purpose is and what its resistance level is, if that's a good word for it. You'll also be able to get information on scope and schedule and where we're going and how much it's costing to actually construct it, and then information about real estate. So all of the information you've seen will be readily available at your fingertips, and we'll continue to update it as the construction occurs.
Taylor, you want to take the next one?
Okay, so we'll read the question.
Here's the question, yeah.
1 second. Okay. So somebody would like, again, to see the images of the flood walls and closure gates, and will there be more details on where the sections where the levee will be raised?
So yes, so once, again, right now we're in 35% design. Once we're about to start the 65% design. Once we get more information, we'll be sharing that with the public in regards to the flood walls that will be going up, exactly where they'll be going up, as well with the levee raise. We'll be showing more detail as showing the exact elevations for each area. So, and as well with the floodgate. All this will be available as we keep moving forward. Again, right now we're still in the early stages of design. I mean, you know, everything is still subject to change. So again, we're still moving forward with our design. Once we're currently scheduled to complete 65% design like early next year, early 2022. So once we have that information, we'll be updating our website and it'll be available for the public.
A little more information on the story map, like what it's going to be.
Sure.
When that would be available.
So the story map is a map-driven interactive medium, and I know that's kind of a lot of techie words, but the idea here is not to just show you a picture, but to actually give you a map like a Google map almost, that allows you to type in an address of where you want to go, and it zooms right to that. And you can use your keyboard and your mouse to zoom around in that area and see it from above, or rotate it around to see it from the side. And so we're putting into those story maps three-dimensional models of the designs that are being constructed, so that you get a feel for what the look is going to be, how tall it's going to be, kind of what the texture of it's going to be, how long it's going to be, where it's going to be positioned, so that you can get a better feel for what we are basically designing. The idea for the story maps is to get them live as soon as possible. So we're looking like in the next 2 weeks to start opening them up. And then our intent is as we move from 35 to 65 to 100% of design, we update the story map as we get so that there's not a lot of lag here. And then when we move into construction, you'll actually see these features being built. And that's what our intent is, to be really transparent with you all about what's going on our end, where we're at today, and then where we're going to be in the future.
And when do you think it'll go online?
And the question is, when do you think it'll be going online? My intent, the team's intent is to get final reviews of the sites in the next couple of weeks. So we're talking in October. And we will put out on the website and Facebook, social media, a release notice so that you know that it's open and ready for you to explore, and also some directions, probably a video on how to use it.
Thank you, Karen. Another question that somebody just asked, will there be any direct costs for private businesses being affected?
No, there would not be any cost for private businesses. The only cost share, again, is between the federal government and our non-federal sponsor, as shown on the other slides.
Eddie, can you share the 35% design package?
So the question was, can you share your 35% design package? I would need to check on that, see if we're able to share that. The reason is that there's been several changes from the 35% design package. For example, one of the changes was in the original design, we had a different type of gate. And then once we did more information, we did more research, that's where we decided that it was better to switch to the vertical lift gate. So that's one of the reasons why we really don't share 35%. We'll share once we have it's a final say on what we're actually doing. That way we don't be going back and forth. So
the process is that we have several technical reviews that have to occur to get us to the next level of design. And so at this point, it's a little bit too premature to be able to share 35% until we get those technical reviewers to take a look at it, give us feedback, and so that way we can hone the design to something that is more closely going to be constructed. And so it's just a little bit too preliminary to share those at this point. It's not that we don't want to, and that's really why the story map is going to evolve over time so that we can show you as we move it from design into actual construction what the features are truly going to look like and what they'll be able to do.
Okay, another question somebody asked is, will the Corps be holding an industry day for contractors as the design progresses?
So we've done several industry days before, and currently we don't have one scheduled, but that's something that we've done past before, and we'll probably schedule not only one, we'll schedule several, and not only for Freeport, but it'll be for all the three systems, for Orange and for Port Arthur. So as we keep moving forward, again, we'll put this information on our website, and then every time we have industry day, we do have our contracting office, or where they inform the industry. So we'll make sure that everybody's aware of it.
Again, make sure that you put your name in the chat box so that you get added to our distribution list, and that way you will be notified when we do have these future events.
Are there more questions? We can wait a couple more minutes to see if a few more questions come in the chat.
It looks like it's slowed down, so.
Definitely. Okay, somebody is asking for the names of our presentation panel. So we will make sure that that information gets out there.
Right. So you've had the whole team is involved, and we tried to get as many people to the table as possible. And if there is information that we didn't give you that you want to hear about in the future, please let us know, because we have a huge team and we'll bring them all to bear. So thank you all for your participation.
Okay. So at this point, Velasco Drainage District, do you have any closing remarks?
No, we don't. No.
Okay, Kelly, do you want to wrap it up for us?
Well, thank you everybody for joining us. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy days to Zoom with us, to basically WebEx with us, and to engage in this manner. We'd like to be with you face to face, and we hope to be able to do that in the future after COVID has settled down a bit. We want to again point you and remind you to watch the space, look for information out on the website. The story maps are coming. We'll continue to have these kinds of meetings, be they virtual or in face, in the future on a regular basis every 3 months or so, and we'll do that until the project is fully constructed. We really do appreciate your feedback. It's helping us work our communication plan more. It also is helping us build out the website and make sure that we're getting these kinds of answers out to not only yourselves, but folks who couldn't attend today. So we do appreciate your engagement. We look forward to speaking with you guys in the future. We do have another one of these tonight, so tell your friends, tell your community. We're going to be back here again at 6 o'clock. And in the interim, stay safe and have a great day. Thank you.